Hey, yo, welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, an urgent podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. The White Sox have signed Andrew Benintendi. Let that sink in. Not really sure that I'm surprised that we're here. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. I'm the host of the CHGO White Sox Podcast. Underneath Vinnie Duber, you can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. And the man over to my left or right is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ectorwall23. We already got 86 people in watching this as the White Sox sign Andrew Benintendi to a franchise record deal. And the first comment is sad day. 5 years, $75 million. What are your guys' thoughts? Does this solve the much needed left field hole that the White Sox clearly had this offseason?
Yes. Yeah, it does. I mean, so listen, Andrew Benintendi might not be an Aaron Judge level player, but he is a very good player. He's an all-star, and he is an everyday major leaguer, no doubt about it. Now, I think a lot of the, let's call them negative opinions that might be out there might have to do with the fact that if the reports are accurate, this will be the largest contract the White Sox have ever given to a free agent, beaten out Yasmani Grandal by just a little bit. So say the reports. Is Andrew Benintendi the guy that you want to have that status? Probably not. That being said, he is a good player. He gives the White Sox another good player. Does he solve everything? And are the White Sox cruising to the AL Central Championship next year? No, the bulk of the responsibility is still going to fall on the guys who were already on the team getting a lot better. But hey, they have a left fielder. They didn't a few hours ago, and now they reportedly do. So is it a positive move? Absolutely. Is it the slam dunk move that everybody was waiting for? I don't know about that. Time will tell. But listen, the White Sox got a left fielder, and they got a good one. Herb, you're muted.
Mute.
You'd think a long-time guy. I'm sorry, there was somebody out here getting arrested, so I didn't want to go over and bleed on the podcast. But I think they got a good outfielder there in Andrew Benintendi. Not a great signing, a good signing. Where if you would have told somebody at the beginning of this offseason, hey, the White Sox are going to get Andrew Benintendi, I don't know if people would have been like, oh, man, that's a good move. I think they would have been underwhelmed with all the names out there. But now we sit on December 16th. I look at the numbers. I talk to the Boston people. I talk to the Kansas City people. And they say, this hitter, this fielder is going to be above average. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs. His, I think, career high is 20 home runs in a season. He's going to catch pretty much every ball that's hit to him. And he gets on base. I think he has a walk percentage over 10%. So that's one of the things that the White Sox dearly need. And he bats from the left side. So those things are all pluses. We're doing the checking off of the boxes. He doesn't fit the power one, but the left-handed guy, the guy who puts bat to ball, the guy who gets on base will make this offense just that much better. I'm seeing him probably, if I'm putting a lineup together, if he's not second, since he gets on base a lot, I would bat him like 6th or 7th. So it's a good move for the White Sox, not a slam dunk like we're all waiting for, especially since we think we're in a championship contention window. It's making the White Sox better today than they were yesterday. Time will tell if he's actually going to be worth the $75 million, the highest paid free agent acquisition in White Sox history. But I don't want to hold that against him because the White Sox who are offering the money, he just got to say yes or no. I don't want to put pressure on him to be living up to being the best player in free agent history for the White Sox.
Well, and I'll say this too about that whole status thing, right? It's like, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because it's okay if their best player is the guy they're getting a good value on in Eloy Jimenez, or if their best player is the guy they're getting a good value on in Luis Robert. Andrew Benintendi, because he's the highest paid free agent in White Sox history, doesn't have to be the best player on the team. They kind of, they made a situation for themselves, the ideal situation, not the one we thought existed a couple of hours ago, but the ideal situation that they had created for themselves was, well, we're getting value on the guys that are supposed to be the guys for us. It's okay if you go out and quote unquote overpay for somebody else. And really, if you're somebody who is sitting there saying the White Sox need to do something, the White Sox need to spend some more money, well, hey, they did it. So if you're not happy with this guy getting the money, that's fine. But listen, they went out and they did what you wanted them to do in terms of being active in an offseason where we didn't think they were going to be active like this, because Rick Hahn spent the entire winter meetings telling everybody that they weren't going to be.
Right. I'm shocked that we're here. I mean, we said that we think they have about $15 million to spend. Andrew Benintendi just signed for about $15 million. So does that mean they're done adding? I think that's the biggest question I have right now. Also, we have 257 people watching right now. So make sure you are liking the video. We really do appreciate the support so far. And I don't want to be that guy that's like, spend money, but no, not on that guy. But on December 7th, after we went through all the free agents before Herb came back, I tweeted out aloud, Brandon Nimmo, Joey Gallo, Michael Conforto, Michael Brantley. I would have even added Adam Duvall onto that list after our conversation yesterday. I put one name in not allowed, Andrew Benintendi. So I'm just feeling sour, and that's my own feelings. But let's go to the super chats. First up, Who's Your Daddy? He said, Andrew Benintendi is a solid player, and I, Sean W. Anderson, personally endorse this signing. So thank you very much, Who's Your Daddy?
He
for
made
that
you read
one.
it. That's in the official record now.
That's brilliant.
And in the made you read it category, hey y'all, take my money and say my name. Thank you very much, Hulk Hogan's Giant Taint, for the $5 super chat. We didn't sign a bargain 30-year-old who is bouncing back. That is a great signing. And then finally, our pal Courtney, we appreciate your urgency, guys. And of course, we want to do it for the people.
I kind of thought that instead of our usual, opening song kind of thing, we were going to get Urgent by Foreigner. I thought that was what was going to play, given all the word urgent being plastered all over everything, but not so much, I guess.
Sky Point Foreigner, they're wrapping it up,
Foreigner, the entire band is dead?
No, they said they're done. They're wrapping it up. They're retiring. They're going on the Foreigner, I guess.
Farewell tour?
Yeah, farewell tour. So Andrew Benintendi, I just find it very funny that we talked yesterday. Their biggest needs are power, defense, and lefty. He didn't check two of those boxes. You go into Yankee Stadium the past year, you have 66 plate appearances and a slugging percentage of .365. What Rick Hahn said at the trade deadline was ball in air, and they got a guy who hit 5 home runs last year. If he was on this team, he would just be in the same issue that every single one of these hitters had. They had no issue hitting singles and getting on base. I don't need another one of these guys. I need somebody who's going to put the ball over the fence, and he couldn't even do that in Yankee Stadium. He couldn't take advantage of that. And yes, there's probably connections here. We basically uncovered, or the chat basically pointed out the one where Andrew Benintendi or Yohan Moncada were going to be the player or the cornerstone of the Chris Sale deal. So it's probable that Rick Hahn has liked this player for a very, very long time. So it makes sense that the White Sox are going to Andrew Benintendi. Pedro Grifol just was on the Kansas City staff where Andrew Benintendi was. So there's some knowledge there, along with Mike Tozar, who supposedly is going to be fixing all these hitters. He might have upper hand knowledge on how to fix Andrew Benintendi or how to get that power stroke back. But even then, if you look at the pretty big sample he's given you since 2017, he has the highest number, according to StatCast, expected home runs in guaranteed rate field in any park would be 1 year at 29. So he's not even a 30 home run hitter at his peak. If you put him in the perfect ballpark, Coors for 162 and whatever. And then since 2017, qualified outfielders, the ISO stat, where you just take slugging minus average and you get the isolated power of that. Andrew Benintendi, 113th in the major leagues behind Jeff McNeil, Jackie Bradley Jr., Brian Anderson, Kevin Kiermaier. Even Kevin Kiermaier, who is a defense-only guy, is providing more power than Andrew Benintendi. I don't understand the signing for the White Sox need. They needed a left fielder. You checked one of the 3 boxes, in my opinion.
And Sean, that ISO power stat you just read off, that was for the 2022 season or for his career?
That was since 2017. So I took out the 2016 rookie season where he played about 34 games. So since 2017, he is the 113th outfielder with 711 games, a 151 OPS, and the average over that time, 278, 351, and 429, and a weighted runs created plus of 109. So, even Mark Payton's projected to have a better year than him, according to Steamers.
I hear you.
That was a joke. I'm sorry.
I got
my bad.
I hear you, but I don't think, and yes, he doesn't bring a lot of power to the plate, but do you think if he was to 2 out of these 5 years hit 25 home runs, would that be a good deal? I know he hasn't done that yet,
but he's still awesome.
But he's still
not going to do it though.
But he's still in his prime. That's the point. He's only 28. So you say that this is the ballpark that would be conducive to that. Remember, I don't really put a lot of stock into you got traded in the middle of the season, go to Yankee Stadium and hit a bunch of home runs down right field type of thing. It's hard to get traded in the middle of the year, and it's hard to adjust to your new team. And, partially he was hurt too. So I don't put too much stock that he didn't hit home runs in Yankee Stadium. But I think, it's not a great signing. It's a good signing because he does other things very well or above average. And yes, I'm grading on a White Sox scale, and I'm tamping myself down to, enjoy an Andrew Benintendi thing because I said before, we were in a desert and Rick Hahn has dripped some water on us. And I'm like, man, that water was the most delicious piece of water ever.
It's Dasani. It tastes like jeans. It's Deja Blue, and it tastes like denim.
Today, that shit tastes like champagne.
No,
man. I'm telling you, maybe after today, I'll chill out and I'll realize what this deal is. But the player, he's a above average outfielder in major leagues. I would take that. He's an almost 3 WAR guy last year in the major leagues. Like, yes, I'm taking that every single day of the week, especially for this team. Anything that improves this team makes me happy. Now, it's not an ass-kickingly great deal, but I can't be sad that this deal is not, fireworks. This deal is nice. Well, I don't know why we got to be sad about it and shit on it today.
Yeah, Sean, I'll put it this way. I think your reaction is probably not the one that makes the most sense, and I think there's everybody, the entire north side is just blowing up.
Now you can mute Herb.
Your reaction is probably not the one that makes the most sense, and I think there are probably a lot of other reactions on the other end of that spectrum that don't make much sense either today. I think the White Sox got a very good left fielder, and I think that they should be happy that their team is improved. Remember what they were working with a few hours ago? Nothing. They didn't have a left fielder, and now they've got one who's been to an all-star game and has shown himself to be a good hitter in Major League Baseball. Now, I don't think anybody should be freaking out. Oh, boy, they did it. They did it. Here we go. World Series, here we come. Because of what a lot of the things that you said. The needs that they had entering this offseason have not been fully met by a long shot, right? And I think the idea is, yeah, they needed a left fielder, but they also needed something that, one position can't give you. They needed power. They needed, left-handed hitting is something that Benintendi does, but they needed defensive improvement all around, not just in one spot. They needed, better base running all around, not just in one spot. So Benintendi does not solve all the needs that the White Sox had going into this offseason. I also don't think that anybody was expecting that to happen with one move. Sean, we went through all of those, available free agent outfielders yesterday on the show, and there was nobody there who, fit every bill and was like, all right, you sign them up and this lineup is fixed. Great job, White Sox. It's all over. Like there was nobody that was going to meet all those criteria, and certainly nobody who was going to meet all those criteria for left field and then also meet it for the rest of the lineup. So that they added a good hitter today is a good thing. Does it solve all their problems? No. And we have to wait until the games start being played to figure out whether all those problems have been solved, because they're not going out and getting 9 new players to stick in the lineup. What Benintendi does is improve over what they had, but it only works if Eloy Jimenez is Eloy Jimenez, and if Luis Robert is Luis Robert, if Tim Anderson is Tim Anderson. That's the only way this works, and I think the White Sox are showing with this move perhaps that they're confident that all those guys can take the steps that they need to take to get a lot better.
And before we get to some of the super chats here, Dan says, I think Sean's getting a little too detailed in the specific stats. Benintendi, I'm going to do that.
Benintendi.
Poor guy. Can still have the best years ahead of him. We didn't need the left field to be our MVP. Just a good, solid left fielder. I worry about the best years ahead of him. Really part of that. I don't know if that's true. And you don't need him to be the MVP. You need him to play games, which he's done. I'll give him a huge credit for that. I mean, outside of 2020, where he played 14 games, and I'm not really going to take 2020 into a ton of stock here just because it was the weirdest year of everyone's lives. But you look at that 711 games. Finding people who have played 700 games since 2017 is a difficult stat. There's only about 30 of them. So that's a good thing. And especially with the White Sox, who consistently are looking for players to plug in and play each and every day, Benintendi will do that. So That's at least good. You'll get a guy who will probably play around 140 games, and the White Sox need that. So I'm not going to bash it in every single way, but I do wonder, like, what type of athlete is he? I feel like he's a declining athlete. You look at the sprint speed, you look at the max exit velocities, you look at the average exit velocities. Those are all dipping. For a guy that's contact oriented, he's a guy that just had a barrel percentage in like the 25th percentile. Like, I don't know if that contact skill is going to continue up. And he doesn't walk like a ton. Like, he's not like 80 walks like Yohan Moncada was. So I don't know the true benefit, and I understand there's consistency there, but I don't know if the White Sox needed consistency. I think they needed something a little bit more. But let's get to some of these super chats here. First off, let's go to Joe Wald, who just sent in a $5 super chat. So we appreciate that very much. Our guy Jaxo coming in with a $10 super chat saying, oh my God, they did something major this offseason. Hooray. And we got a good outfielder. Now we just need to sign or trade for a second baseman. It seems like a trade. If Rick Hahn's been talking about trades, it seems like a trade for the second baseman will be coming here. And then let's get one for Herb. We still need cover out there, Herb. Brantley is prime for this, isn't he? And that one's from Ian Robb.
Ooh, no, I think we're good. We got our left fielder. I don't know where Brantley's going to play then if you pick him up. And I appreciate it, Ian, but I don't know if you are going to get another left fielder. You're probably, if you really want to and you don't think that Oscar Colas is ready, maybe you go and get a right fielder. But I think the White Sox are done pretty much for outfield shopping right now. I would hope so.
Is second base the next thing, right?
That would be the only place, that, or if you want to really, I mean, there's nobody out there to really fortify the pitching staff unless you're going on the trade market, and I don't know how that's going to work. So, yeah, second base is the only spot that I see that is a glaring weakness for the White Sox, and the signing of Andrew Benintendi didn't make me forget and doesn't say, okay, you get Andrew Benintendi, you don't need to cover second base because he's going to give you a certain amount of offense, and so you can have a lackluster second baseman. No, since you signed Andrew Benintendi, you need to go out and get a veteran second baseman that's going to give you production. Gene Segura sounds like a guy that the White Sox could use.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they spent more money. I mean, it seems like their budget was around 190, and we talked about them having about $15 million left. So I'm surprised that they even went out and got Benintendi. It seemed like the next move was a trade. So them signing this free agent was pretty shocking. Vinny, do you think they go out and are active again still on the free agent market to get the second base, or is this where the trade comes in?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Rick Hahn laid out a situation in which these type of free agent signings were not going to be likely for the White Sox, and yet here we are talking about one. So I think you kind of have to remember that. And what did I keep saying kind of when that was kind of presented? It was a management of expectations that probably stemmed all the way back from the Manny Machado pursuit a few years back, going out and saying, hey, guys, don't get excited. But, hey, the right deal came along here, and now I think that's what the White Sox decided to go with. So maybe there is another right deal, right person out there that fits their wish list and exactly what they want. But that being said, if we're going to take Rick Hahn at his word saying that trades are the more likely route, certainly now they've deviated from that with their only two additions so far this year coming on the free agent market. Perhaps the big focus is on trades in order to get a second baseman. So yeah, I would think that would be more likely. I can tell you this for sure. Second base is that need. I don't think, in my opinion, that you'd want to go into a season with championship expectations with the current crop of second basemen that they have. So I would think that they would try to go out and to get someone at least along the lines of a Josh Harrison style acquisition, get some competency and some confidence there at second base before you start exploring some of those other guys that you might have knocking on the door.
Some more super chats. We got Baseball Toss saying, super happy with the signing. Thanks for Herb and Sean for answering my Twitter messages, of course. So we're always here for you White Sox fans. We do have a couple questions about the lineup and Colas that I'll get to in a second. But we have one from Stefan Bardo saying, do you think they'll trade Liam to offset the signing? We really do appreciate that, Stefan. And then Ian coming back again. So on second base, can we get Lux for Liam? Means wages are evened. Thoughts on the idea that the Dodgers are that next trade partner? Does that seem likely after what we went through, that little experiment going through all 30 teams?
That'll be really tough for them to trade for Gavin Lux. I'm not sure if I want Liam to be traded. I'm 100% sure I don't want him to be traded, but I'm not sure that Gavin Lux makes it go away. Like he fits a position, need, and I know he's coming. He's next, but it'll be tough to go with
if you're signing
Kendall Graveman or Ronaldo Lopez as the guys at the end of your game, that'll be really tough.
If you're signing
to trust that
an outfielder for a record deal for your franchise at $75 million, it seems like they're going for it. Why would they trade Liam, right?
Yes, that's what I think. And I mean, it doesn't look like bringing on Benintendi, the biggest contract ever, is something to do because you want him in 2025. Right. I mean, you're going to go ahead and get this guy for now because, hey, he is an all-star and he is a very good player that can make your team better. As we've talked about kind of ad nauseum now over the last several months. Listen, Liam Hendriks is arguably the best closer in baseball. If you're going to go try to win the World Series, you want that over, well, I hope this guy can handle the ninth inning, just because you want to get a guy that's slightly better than what you got at second base. I don't think Liam Hendriks is going anywhere. And I think a lot of the talk around him is because he's really the only name that's been brought up, right? If we saw some tweet from some national reporter during the winter meetings that was like, oh, teams are interested in Tim Anderson, it doesn't mean that Tim Anderson's going anywhere, but all of a sudden it's in people's minds. Oh, Tim Anderson, trade market, trade talks kind of thing. I think Liam Hendriks is just the guy whose name was tweeted out. And so now that's the guy that a lot of folks are like, oh, well, he's on the block. It doesn't sound like he's on the block at all. It sounds like the White Sox are listening and doing their jobs and considering trades of anybody that come their way. Doesn't mean they're going to do them. Doesn't mean they want to do them. But yeah, I don't think Liam Hendriks would be a smart person to get rid of, because that is it is a problem for so many teams, right? It almost cost the Cubs the World Series in 2016, and they had the guy who was perhaps the best closer in baseball at that time. You want confidence. You want to know what's going to happen in the ninth inning. The White Sox have that right now, and to get rid of that just because you want an upgrade at second base, that doesn't seem very smart in my opinion.
Kevin Steele disagrees with us, saying feels like Liam is now going to be shipped out for a second baseman.
And he's got the $10, so I guess it's his opinion over ours.
We appreciate the thought and we appreciate the super chat. All right, let's get to Rafa Guzman and Stephen Niss. These two kind of go hand in hand here. Rafa first saying, does this mean Colas won't be in the bigs yet? And then Stephen Niss saying, where do you all think he slots in the lineup? So obviously, if you're putting Colas in the lineup, you think he'll be in the bigs. So gentlemen, what do you think about the 1 through 9? I have one already lined up if you guys want me to go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I can critique.
Tim makes sense at 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Any disagreements? Ahmed Rosario is better? No? Okay. Yoan Moncada 2, third base.
I don't know. I think Andrew Benintendi might be 2 in left field.
Okay, we'll put slash
Herb's on mute, but he agrees with me.
we'll put slash Benintendi right there for Moncada. Third, Robert at the center.
Makes sense.
Jimenez, 4th DH.
Correct.
Vaughn, 5th at first base.
Mm-hmm. That works.
Grandal, 6 a catcher.
Yeah, Moncada. Yeah,
I go Moncada there.
Yeah.
You put Moncada there. All right. And then 7th, that's where I had Benintendi.
I think it would be the other
Grandal.
of then
Grandal.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I put Romy at second. That it could be anybody if you want Lenin Sosa, whoever, but someone's playing second base. And then Colas in right field.
I think Colas would be over Romy Gonzalez.
No, well, Romy's playing second.
No, I know,
but like
I
batting,
got you. Yeah. Well, my thought, and even second leadoff hitter, baby. I mean, if he's so good at getting on base, do you not put him 9th? I mean, Andrew Benintendi could really flip a lineup. He's not going to drive anybody home.
I think you get Benintendi and you know what he can do. The guy can get on base. He can hit singles. It screams your stereotypical classic old school second, number 2 hitter, doesn't it? And I think that's probably where he ends up. I think that, Yoan and Yaz kind of got to earn their jobs back. Both those guys could look good in that number 2 hole, no doubt about it, but they've got to kind of, coming into next year, they're at a different spot than they were earlier in their careers. I think if you're going to go internal at second base, that guy is batting 9th. And then Colas is a guy who's got to work his way up. You have no problem batting a guy like Oscar Colas 7th or 8th in your lineup because you don't know what he's going to do. But the ceiling's so high, let him hit. And if he starts raking, he can be batting 6th, 5th, 6th or 5th at some point later in the year. But
that's the plan. Colas is in right field, right? No objections.
Seems that way. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I mean, I don't like it necessarily just because he has spent so few days and games here stateside, but if they say he's ready, they say he's ready, and I'm good for it. But
I'm more excited for Oscar Pop Colas than I am Andrew Benintendi.
Oscar Royal Crown Colas.
If you switch Moncada to be the second hitter, I would want Colas to be the sixth hitter behind Vaughn, then Benintendi be the seventh hitter. Then you go Grandal 8, and then whoever's at second base is the ninth hitter. But
I only put Colas ninth just because he's a rookie, and earn your way up, kid. That's why I had Romy above him, and then also Benintendi was right there at 7. So then you had lefty, righty, lefty. That's why I did it.
Yeah, because I think Benintendi fits in better as a 2-hitter. If you're gonna drop him in the lineup, I don't think in this lineup he bats higher than 7th. If you have those guys in front of him, because he doesn't hit for power. Yes, he gets on base, but you want power bat in Andrew Vaughn, power bat in Oscar Colas, right there at 5 and 6, and then clean it up with Andrew Benintendi, and then maybe a power bat right there with Yasmani Grandal. I mean, this is a solid lineup. Was it the best in the AL Central? I haven't really scoured over it. Potentially, like on paper,
No.
On paper,
this is not the best lineup in AL Central. You said
it should be.
Okay, I'm sorry. You said AL Central. I thought you said AL.
You thought I was going for AL.
I'm sorry.
AL
I'm
Central.
sorry.
Yeah, potentially, yes. This is the best lineup, and so they don't need that much. But I would love for them to get a second baseman, not to leave both right field and second base, and for some first base all being question marks, along with the third base and catcher question marks. So let's eliminate some of those things, like Jing Segura is not a ass kicker. It's not a great signing. It's a good signing. He's a MLB veteran that'll give you MLB average to above average skills.
I don't think they're spending more money though. Like, I don't know. Gene Segura is not a possibility in my mind.
You didn't think they were spending $75 million 2 hours ago either.
I guess.
Yeah. And so, yes. So I don't want all these question marks on the rest of the lineup. Yes. Maybe Roman Gonzalez turns into a beast, or Leaning to Sosa, but it's a lot of question marks for going into a season with Colas and another rookie.
Just want to clear out some more super chats here before I ask you guys about Joey Gallo, because that's also another deal, around $11.5 million, I think, for Joey Gallo to go to Minnesota. So 2 AL Central outfielders being added at the same time. But this one's from Hulk Hogan's Giant Taint. Again, thank you very much for your $5 super chat.
Can you say that on this channel? I'm not sure.
Yes, there's no FCC. It's the man's name. It's a screen name. That's all. I didn't choose it.
They've been the main's name.
No, I said it's I forget what I said.
If he said it's the main's name, that would have been perfect. But go ahead.
They've been intending to add him to the roster for some time.
Where's my mallet? If this is the Gong Show, I need a mallet.
Bong.
And then it was a dad joke connoisseur. I had to groan at that one.
Hey, Terry Boella, or whatever his name is a dad joke connoisseur. Daniel Roberts saying, you cover the Sox so well. Enjoyed listening to you. Thank you for representing the nation properly. We appreciate that. Daniel or Robert. We appreciate Robert Daniel for the super chat. And then finally, Kevin Steele again. If you could trade Hendriks for Ketel Marte, would you? That's Kentel Marte. You wouldn't do that. Gives you flexibility at second base and another outfielder. Hell to the no.
Kevin Steele's got something against Australians, I think, because he is just on. he is pounding the table for them to get rid of Liam Hendriks.
Yeah,
Liam Hendriks really good.
Yeah, and I don't know if Ketel Marte, especially after he was just injured, he's got 11 million, 13 million, 16 million, 16 million, 14 million. I don't know about that. That's a lot of money.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't
but
think
that's
he
intriguing.
Can pitch the 9th inning either.
That's intriguing because of his top level potential, but you can't do with the rest of the contract left.
Why would Arizona want Hendriks anyways?
I don't know. Maybe to flip him at the trade deadline. I don't know.
I don't get that. I just don't think that's going to happen. So we don't.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just entertaining the question.
I'm just answering Kevin Steele too. I'm trying to yell at you. Don't worry. Let's get into Joey Gallo here. Joey Gallo did sign a deal with the Minnesota Twins as well. So this kind of came out at the same time. He is going to be a Twin. This is a 1-year deal for around $11 million. Yes, $11 million according to Jeff Passan. So what do we make of at least the left field market between these two deals? Joey Gallo getting 1 and Benintendi getting 5 years.
Boy, that's got Nelson Cruz Part 2 written all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But listen, here's the thing. A lot of people were very happy with the idea of the White Sox getting Joey Gallo. Sean, I think you were probably among them. And it's true that he addressed a lot of the needs that the White Sox were looking to fill, those non-specific ones of power and playing good defense, that kind of thing. That being said, he had a $190 last year, and it's very possible that that even though he brings those home runs, that he was not going to fill up that offense in general, that all-around offense need all the way. And I think it speaks to the imperfection of a lot of the selections, or the options rather, that were out there on that free agent outfield market for be it the White Sox or another team. Again, I look at the acquisition the Twins made very much the same that I do the White Sox. The White Sox got a good player today. I think the Twins got a player that can help them today. It's a positive move. It's not a slam dunk because I don't think anybody out there was a slam dunk. The White Sox probably got a little bit more certainty in terms of the guy's probably not going to hit below 200, but Joey Gallo is probably going to hit an awful lot more home runs. So, take it whichever way you want. I think the White Sox have the lineup, or we should say, have the lineup that could cover up for any lack of power on Benintendi's end. I'm not sure the Twins, have the same thing stacked in their corner when it comes to Gallo's shortcomings. So we'll see.
And I think you could see through the deals where the White Sox chose the higher floor. They know what they're going to get from Andrew Benintendi. They know it's going to be somewhere where it's above average. It's going to be in that level. And he's young enough to get better than he actually has been. So they chose to sign him. And you see with the deal that they made, a 5-year commitment to him, they chose that he is the better of the two options. Joey Gallo, same thing with Cody Bellinger. These are prove-it deals. These are guys who want to get back into the market next year because they haven't done well the last couple of years, and they haven't been themselves as they think themselves to get the maximum number of money they want on their free agent contract. So these are prove-it deals. The White Sox decided we want more certainty, so they went with Benintendi. I don't think you go wrong with either Benintendi, Gallo, or Bellinger. It's just your preference. The White Sox were very desperate for an outfielder, and to get one of them that is going to be better, much better than the ones that they had last year, I think is a win-win for both the White Sox and the Twins.
Strictly out of those three, and I guess you could even throw Conforto in, out of those four, he has the lowest floor. Absolutely. And again, with the White Sox having so many questions with Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, I mean, you even threw Andrew Vaughn into there, but even at, catcher and third base, they just get a guy who will play. The other stat I wanted to bring up that I think is at least positive towards Andrew Benintendi. Last year, he covered four-seamers well, sliders well, and sinkers well. All pitches the White Sox struggled with. 2 run value for four-seamers, 3 run value versus sliders, and a 3 run value versus sinkers. Not great, nothing, elite or anything, but he is above average. Yay. Nearly 400 people watching, so make sure you smash that like button. We are crossed over 400, so hey, thank you, everybody. I think that's a record. So for a franchise record deal, we get a record amount of viewers, which we really, really do appreciate. And we do have another super chat, too, from our guy, Jaxo. OMG, they did something major this offseason. Hooray. And we got a good outfielder. Now they just need to sign or trade for a second baseman. Also, Gallo is going to suck since he strikes out a lot. They had Miguel Sano, who is the second all-time in 3 true outcome percentage. So I don't think they really care about the striking out. As long as he walks and he hits home runs and he plays good defense, Joey Gallo will be a good signing. That's why you sign him. You don't care if people are striking out 200 times at this point and hitting under 200. And even our guy, Steven Gottred, jumping in with the super chat as well. Maybe you guys already covered this, but do you think the White Sox signed another outfielder like Brantley? You already addressed this specifically, Herb, but again, I think if they're going to be doing anything else, it's going to be depth pieces, at least when it comes to the free agent market. They're going to try to fill out Charlotte, Birmingham, Kannapolis, just because there were so many struggles trying to find arms in those places. I think they're going to try to fill out those bats and make sure that those levels are healthy, or hopefully they do. But outside of that, I really don't see any other free agent deals being signed because, I guess I wasn't expecting Benintendi, but I feel like they're at their cap at this point from what we've heard.
Maybe they surprise us. Maybe they go out and say, hey, we have Oscar Colas in the bag and maybe he's ready, but what if he goes to spring training and he's not the guy, or he gets worse, he gets hurt? Now we're very short on outfielders. Outfield depth is very thin on the White Sox. Maybe they go into the Conforto market because he only wants a short-term deal, as his agent has said. Maybe they see that the number's right a couple of weeks from now and they say, all right, let's pull the trigger. Give me a little bit more, Jerry, and they pull the trigger on Mike Conforto. Only one can hope like that, because then if you go to spring training with that lineup, you're cooking with gas. You're doing something. Like Mike Conforto's a question mark, but I think for most of us, that's a bigger signing than what Andrew Benintendi is today. If they sign Michael Conforto, even for a 1-year prove-it deal with an option, I think that would be more of a, man, White Sox are out here doing things that we would want them to do, and this looks like a more complete team today.
Yeah, I mean, I just looking forward. I mean, you're probably once that big second base need is addressed, which it was bigger than left field in my opinion. You're talking about those flyer type signings, those ones where you give out those minor league deals to some names, perhaps some
Victor
guys
Reyes.
that we've heard of. Not Victor Reyes. I'm talking more along the Johnny Cueto lines. And you see what happens. And you can never have enough depth in the starting rotation. Obviously, you're going to need more than just 5 guys if you're going to get yourself through a season. But of course, you've got to thread that needle, and it's got to be somebody who's okay with pitching some games at AAA or spending some time in the bullpen. Not while you wait for an injury, but those injuries do strike as inevitable when you're talking about starting pitchers over the course of a 6-month season. So, I think it's smart to see multiple of those. I think it would be smart to throw out 2 or 3 of them just so you get the most amount of arms as you can to protect some of these guys, because otherwise you're drawing on somebody like a Jimmy Lambert, who was such a critical role in your bullpen last year. Do you make your bullpen a little worse by trying to just throw a life preserver to your rotation? So the more starting pitching arms you can get, the better. But it's not going to be the guy who's sitting at the top of the free agent pile right now. It's going to be somebody who knows what they're getting into and is willing to get into it.
And hey, we didn't even talk about the big starting pitcher signing with Carlos Rodon going to the Yankees too. So a lot happening in Major League Baseball. You love to see it, at least. A lot of activity going on. It seems to be each and every single day. All right, we have 375 people watching. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us on this urgent podcast. We got 2 more super chats. First from Kirk M. How about a franchise record super chat? Thank you for the $2 super chat. It's not going to come from Kirk M, but we do appreciate the possibility of one happening. I think Jaxo still earns it with $100. So, hey, Jaxo, you're still the king there. And then Joe Wald coming back with another super chat, and we're very appreciative of that. With this lineup and unknown second base, I think the best case scenario, healthy Sox hit 160 to 170 home runs this year, which still leaves us in the bottom half of baseball, which is correct. It's still a big thing, but can Oscar Colas bring power? Can Andrew Vaughn at first base bring power? Can they unlock some power in Yoan Moncada? Can Yasmani Grandal give you 20? What does Luis Robert do in 150 seasons? Eloy Jimenez not playing left field. Can he hit 40, like we've said before? Tim Anderson's looking for a contract. He might want to hit 20 as well. So,
and the White Sox think, the White Sox, by the way, think the answer to all those questions is yes. You know what I mean? Like they, and no, that's not wishful, a rip. That's just true. I mean, listen, I think a lot of people, all 3 of us included, before last season started, thought that everybody on this team was going to hit 20 or 30. So, right. It makes us look ridiculous after what happened, but that was nowhere near what the expectation was, what the actual production was in 2022. So I don't think we should turn around and say, all right, that was just a down year. Everybody get on your 30 homer horse here, and let's go see a record like we saw several years ago with the Minnesota Twins. But I do think that expecting those guys to move in that positive direction is definitely reasonable.
I guess my worry is that, you're banking on a lot of health, and what we didn't see last season was health from these players. So I guess I'm just a little bit more hesitant to be like, these guys will reach those platforms, because first off, they just need to hit the games played platform before we even do that. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up? A nice little 40-minute urgent podcast, like Herb likes to say.
Good signing for the White Sox. They need to do more to address the current holes on the team at second base. And if they want to do something in right field, I would not be mad at them. And it's a little late, not late, but for our liking, it's a little late. But I think the signing is a good signing, and they need to add on from the signing. This cannot be, I think, the only free agent signing this offseason. They need to do some other move where getting this team to a level above the Cleveland Guardians is paramount, because it doesn't seem they can compete with the other teams at the top of AL Central, at least get in the playoffs and see what happens.
Look at Herb already forgetting about Mike Clevenger. This is not the only free agent signing so far this offseason. Herb, come on.
Thank you. Sorry. I forgot about Sunshine. He stole my name.
Everybody go listen to Foreigner to celebrate this urgent podcast.
Yes, Foreigner is everyone's most pressing homework this weekend is to listen to some Foreigner. I think there was one more thing I had to do. Other than that, no, I think we're good. All right, that's gonna wrap it up.
The poll results.
Oh, the poll. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
can give you the poll results.
Steven's in the house.
I got it. No,
Yes.
314 votes now. 314
Which is
votes.
that's a CHGO record, mind you.
Oh, look at that. A CHGO record, 314 votes. You get 314 White Sox fans into the same group, and you get an 89% positive reaction to Andrew Benintendi signing a 5-year deal with the Sox. So Sox fans seem to like it.
Only Sean doesn't like it.
I guess. Hey, I'm the Debbie Downer here. My bad. I'll try to bring a positive attitude on Sunday's show.
Hey, in September.
Herbie doesn't even like Jose Abreu. Why is he going to like Andrew Benintendi?
That's a good point. In September, if he's bad, you could bring this podcast back December 16th and say, hey, guys, I told you. Some bitches are out here drinking the Kool-Aid, and you can dunk on us. But for right now, I think we're all good. I think we're decently happy. Content is the word probably we got to use for the Andrew Benintendi signing. I'm shocked. I think that's the word I'll use. I'm shocked that they did this. So I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll have to see. I will let him prove me wrong because it's our job. That's I give my opinion and they play baseball, and my opinion doesn't matter once they play baseball. So we'll see what happens there. And we still got a lot of time before pitchers and catchers even report. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. If you do want to become a diehard, check out allchgo.com, and we do have gift membership packages. You get a shirt, sticker pack, and a membership card if you are looking for a gift for the diehard in your life. We appreciate everyone for joining us again. Record-setting stream, over 400 viewers, record-setting polls as well, and make sure you're liking the video and subscribing to the channel on your way out. We will talk to you soon, probably Sunday or live on Monday with more reaction to Andrew Benintendi signing with the White Sox. Go Sox.